episode 3 with my man over here, Steve Mona. What's up, buddy?
Is there anybody that's going to be on this podcast that's not your man? You have
no.
You have really, in a very short period of time, like ingrained yourself into our group. I mean, I don't know anyone that's gotten like from like periphery to mainstream in the group as quickly as you did it. I have to say this, and I've mentioned this to a few people that have not met you. I said, yeah, they saw this guy, Jimmy Ferrari. I'm like, yeah, like almost like a caricature of a Brooklyn guy, but in a good way. Like
yeah,
there's like it's you are. I just listen. I'm going to say this like a little man crush here. I love you.
I love you too,
Jimmy. You're the best.
You are the fucking bee's knees. You are no, you are. You're like a salt of the earth guy.
I try.
You really are. I enjoy talking with you. I enjoy. I wish we could do it more often, but you are like the busiest retired man ever.
This is true.
This is very true. But like when we went and we hung out. Actually, for people that don't know, like not too many people would know, you were the first person that I ever ate at Luga's with.
That's right. I remember. Yeah, you were like, I'd never been to Luga's. I'm like, how could you not have been to Luga's?
Know.
You're born and raised in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just one of those things. Same reason why, like, I don't know. I never saw Motorhead live. People are like, how is that possible? I don't know. I just never went to Luga's, and it was me and you, and it was the only time I've been there since.
Well, we need to go back. I haven't been there in a long time.
I'm dying to go back, man.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah. Let's
do it. Well, you need to free up your schedule, brother. Yeah. And like when we went to a Caves' spot, the Firefly and stuff. So I always enjoy your company. I always enjoy bullshitting with you. For people that do not know Steve Mona, he's the former commanding officer for the New York City Vandal Squad. He is one of the 3 original Delta Bravo Urban Exploration team members. It's Danny and Knocko and Mona. He is a 9/11 first responder, which I always have the utmost respect for. You are a cigar aficionado. You are also the co-host of the Corn Mash Cigar Ash and Motorcycle Trash podcast. And
currently in hiatus, but we were just talking today about getting back on schedule.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's in between seasons. You're about to start season 2. That's all that is.
Season 2, exactly.
That's all that is, man. Gentlemen, yes. Yeah, so I mean, it's funny that you say that I put myself in where I guess, quote unquote, where I am in the group or whatever.
I don't know, but I wouldn't say put yourself. You just got dragged into it.
I kind of did.
Faster than anyone else has ever done. It's very rare that all 3 of the OGs are like, I like this guy. Usually it's like, I think I like this guy. Let me check him out. Let me, but you were just like, you were there. Like, it was like, and listen, you have a cool name.
It's so weird.
It's really funny. My wife, when we lived in Brooklyn, my wife would come home, and especially when Danny was in town, and there'd be guys all over the house. We'd be watching Yankee games. My wife would come home from a late business dinner or something, and she'd be like, hi, guys, going to bed. Good night. And then one day my wife said to me, I don't know the real name of any of your friends. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, you're Brooklyn guys. She goes, I mean, I know Danny Boy. She goes, but Knocko Nolan. I said, well, it's Jimmy McSorley. And she's like, Big DS. I said, Dave Sussman. And we went going through the list one day, and she goes, who's this? What's Jimmy Ferrari's real name? I said, no, his real name is Jimmy Ferrari. So,
yeah, I've gotten that before. Like, is that your real name? Yes, my real name. Here's my driver's license. Yes, it's my real name. I promise. Well, it's actually technically it's James, but no one calls me James. Nobody. Yeah. But you know what it is? I just think I've said it, I guess, in a roundabout way in past podcasts, maybe even on this one with Danny or Knocko. It's something that I've always enjoyed, like wondering where certain things were filmed and this and that. And then once one thing led to another, and I wound up meeting Danny, to do a little small. I only wanted his time for maybe like 15, 20 minutes because Coco was playing in Philly. So I was like, a couple minutes here and there. I didn't want to take up his time. I didn't know him. I didn't want to impose on him. I know he has a show going on, but he was gracious enough to be like, yeah, absolutely. Just come backstage. Next thing you know, it was just short of an hour of us talking about The Outsiders and hitting locations and stuff. And I had not known you yet. I've seen your name on the group, and I didn't meet Knocko yet. So all those things, and it's just weird. I'm like, how am I talking to the House of Pain guy about Pony Boy and shit like that? And then it was just very weird. There was like two worlds of mine as a kid and as a teenager with House of Pain and stuff all colliding into one thing with a guy like Danny, who's an amazing guy with like no ego like that. At least when in the time frame that I met him, super humble guy and couldn't stop talking about the whole Delta.
Everything else but himself. I say this about Danny all the time. He's very open with his sobriety, sharing that because it's what's the word I'm looking for? People look up to that, especially people that are struggling with addiction themselves.
Right.
And to see somebody in his position be that sharing, yeah, hey, this is what I had going on. So he's very open about that. He's also very sharing of his time.
Yeah.
And especially when there's a shared interest, he
Sure.
wants to impart all that share with the person. So I think that's like something that's really endearing about him.
Yeah.
For me, I've seen people, being really, and people like, oh my God, that's Danny Boy. And they're like, and he's like, yeah, how you doing? And they're like, and you usually get it right after they get past the, wow, I didn't think you were that tall.
Yeah.
You go past that. But, I met him through Everlast, who remains a friend to this day. But my friendship with Danny has taken off, from, I mean, I think of him as my big younger brother.
Yeah.
The House of Pain was playing at the Nokia in Manhattan, and Everlast called me and said, hey, you coming down? I'm like, yeah, okay, we got, we'll have you backstage. And he goes, hey, I hope it's okay. Danny Boy wants to meet you. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
And we didn't have a whole lot of conversation that night. Elaine and I got there late. We just, he came out from the green room and we chatted a few minutes. Hey, we'll cut it up another time, come out to LA. And then like something just clicked between him and I. It's just like, which is, I've seen him do it with you. I've seen it happen with Jimmy. One of the funny things I wanted to tell about is, Jimmy, there's like this whole, like Danny forgets a little bit about how, him and Jimmy got together, and Jimmy, talked about it on the last episode. He said, they met through social media and, whatever. But the funny thing was, and Danny always forgets this, I always have to remind him, so I knew Jimmy's dad. Jimmy's dad could be another show.
Okay.
Vietnam vet, airborne guy, and just like all this stuff going on, and the relationship that I had with Jimmy's dad. And then Jimmy looks me up one day on social media, and I'm like, I don't know Knocko Nolan.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, my dad. And he mentions his dad's name. I'm like, oh yeah. And so Jimmy and I become friends through social media, right? I haven't met him. He hasn't met me. And then we wind up meeting. He comes to New York and we hang out, and he's, we went to a few things in the city and all this stuff going on. But we become super good friends, and he's commenting on a lot of stuff. And Danny and I interact a lot on social media, and he was jumping right into the conversation, and a House of Pain fan, of course. And one day Danny messages me and he says, hey, who the fuck is this Knocko Nolan guy? He keeps getting involved in all our conversations. He goes, I'm about to tell the guy off. I'm like, no. He's a good guy. He's an LAP. You should hook up with him. And then I don't remember how that next step came apart, but Danny always forgets that he was like ready to tell Jimmy, like, hey, go fuck, get out of here. Who are you, kid?
Yeah.
Their friendship,
interrupting our conversation here.
But their friendship just went like to another level, which made me happy, because they're at the time in the same location. Danny's looking for somebody to pal around with and do all this stuff with, and I'm not out there. I've actually fashioned myself as the behind the scenes guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you send me pictures all the time.
Oh God! I always say, when in doubt, ask Steve Mona.
Yeah. but you know, I've got the photographic memory, and so
you do. It's fucking crazy. There's a few times where I'm like, how did you know that? You're like, I'm not even sure. I just do. And I Google map it, and sure as shit, it's like right there on the corner of whatever.
I've been by it once or twice. I remember. But the funny thing is, you know, I'm like, I fashion myself as the behind the scenes guy. So they've gotten, you know, they're out there in the front of it. And I'm happy to be in the back getting a, you know, a text from Danny at 1 o'clock in the morning. Hey, where is this?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he did that to me one night. He like sends me a picture of the Barracudas clubhouse in Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
Where is this? And I'm like, dude, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I need to know where this is. So now I start, and you know, with the Delta Bravo thing, it's not about Google Maps and everything. It's we got to be there, but we got to find it first.
Of course.
And I'm like, okay, I know where some of the filming was done. I know from my time working in a business that they try to keep expenses low by staying close. It's got to be in the same area. And I just start Google mapping like First Avenue from 40th to 50th, Second Avenue. And then when I get to like 13th Avenue and I find it, and I'm like, I sent it to him, like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah,
like, here's your fucking clubhouse. I'm going to bed. And it's like, and then the next trip out, of course, him and I go there and we take the pictures.
Right.
But I mean, Jimmy touched on it. Danny touched on it. So many of these pop culture location sites are all about, it's a secret.
Yeah.
You know, we don't tell anybody, but we want people to experience, you know, it's iconic. It's historic. It means something that, you know, maybe The Outsiders doesn't mean anything to one person, but it means something to you. Maybe another movie means something to the other person. So there were a couple of guys early on that were a part of this whole project, especially when we were trying to shop it as a show.
Yeah.
That were like, if a dude posted something that had been posted before, oh, been done, guy. And I'm like, whoa, we're not, that's not who we are.
Yeah, who cares?
Experience it themselves. And thankfully, those people have fallen by the wayside. You know, it just is what it is. But you're right about Danny. I used to say I didn't have an ego. We all have egos. It depends on whether you're driven by your ego or you drive your ego.
Right.
And Danny drives his ego.
Right.
You drive your ego. I like to think most of the time I drive my ego. The guys that are ego driven, that they'll let their ego take over and drive them, they're not a part of this because it's about them and not about the group. So
exactly.
And it's just,
it just touches like recently, I don't know, a couple months back or whatever it was, I found myself down by like Rivington Street. Now I've passed by the album cover of Paul's Boutique a million times. I just never actually took the picture of Paul's Boutique. Right. I know it's been done. Of course it's been done, but I never did it personally. So I had to do it just for my own personal reasons.
Plus you do better mashups than most.
What's that?
I said you do better mashups than most. So.
But that's another part of it, at least for me. I enjoy doing the whole Photoshop thing. I enjoy making the flyers and the logos and the mashes and stuff like that. I enjoy doing that. It sounds ridiculous, but it's almost like therapy. You know what I mean? Like
it actually it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I get into my zone. Sometimes I'll go like we hit. I don't know. There was a lot of people don't even know about the original movie, the Stepford Wives from 1975. I've seen it. I think it's a creepy movie from 1975. I've seen it several times. We went to the mansion. I was inside the mansion. There are like 12 different shots from the Stepford Wives. Does anyone really from the group really honestly really know so much about that movie? Probably not, but I don't care. I did it anyway because maybe a couple of people will be like, wow, like I haven't seen that. Let me go read it.
You're doing it for yourself and for the group. And
sure.
And that, you know, that to me is, you know, I've gotten like my motorcycle club. We used to have a party. We still have the party, but in a different location. And we were at this place for 10 years running this fundraiser. And I don't know, I'm going there, you know, and there's a long escalator upstairs because on the first floor is a pool.
Right.
And the pool was never open. We had our party there and it wasn't a pool party anyway. But come to find out, the pool is Maury's Wigs. And Maury's Wigs don't
go even in hurricane winds. Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm like, and here I am in this place. So you're right. You go places. I think that's the most fun. is when you find out that someplace you've been a million times
Yeah.
is like, yeah, this was like a movie was filmed here. Like I think Nikki posted something the other day, and
Godfather.
The Godfather, and I said, oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, you know, there was a House of Pain connection, the church, the old St. Patrick's. He's like, oh yeah, this was the scene, and I'm like, yeah, in the beginning of House of Pain's, you know, and beginning to jump around.
Absolutely.
So it's fun stuff. You know, like I said, I like those guys to be out front. I like you being out front. I like being the guy. You know, it thrills me when you send me something and I find it, or I tell you, hey, that's where it is, and then you put my name in the credit. I love that.
Of course, I give you credit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love.
More for the intel. Absolutely.
Let me tell you something. I am such a behind the scenes guy that I had to buy a webcam for this podcast.
Get out of here.
I swear to God. All that trouble we had getting this thing working before we started, I literally bought the webcam this week.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I hate being on camera.
Yeah, come on. You're like adorable over here.
Do you know why I hate being on camera?
Why?
Because when I see myself on camera, I realize how fucking old I am.
Oh, stop it. No, we all have younger, it's fine.
Dude, we all have this like opinion of ourselves. Like I identify as thin, rich, and good looking.
Right.
You know, and that's how I want to be accepted. Otherwise, I'm gonna, sue you or something.
Right.
But, you see yourself. I hate being on camera. You see like group photos of my club. I'm in the back.
Yeah.
I like gravitate to the back. So
yeah, it's kind of difficult finding a shot of you by yourself. And like, yeah, it is.
Yep. I was gonna say that. You you had like 42 pictures of Knocko and like 3 of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm no bullshit. I bought this webcam this week.
That's awesome. Yeah, so, I had to creep around your Instagram page and your entire Facebook page to find pictures and whatnot. Yeah, I had to creep. You know, it's funny, like things that like just magically happen. As you were saying it before, it popped in my head that me and Nikki, a couple of years back, before COVID and all that, we were in Newton. Was it Connecticut? Newton,
New Jersey.
New Jersey, yes. But see, sometimes things get mashed together.
There is a Newton, Connecticut, but you were in New Jersey.
Yes, and there was a terrible movie. The movie must have cost $50 to make, but it's one of my favorites. It's horrible. It's from 1980 or 1981, and it's called Mother's Day. And we find, I know that the opening scene is filmed in a VFW hall, or in a I
think it was a VFW.
Yeah, it was a VFW hall. So we go there, and I don't know, there's like one side door is open. Now, I don't know what the hell is going on. So I walk in, and there's a bar, and there's a couple of people. They look at me and Nikki like we're insane. Like, who are you people? And I'm like, how you doing? And I have my phone out, and I'm like, listen, this is what we're trying to do. And they're like, nothing was ever filmed here. I was like, no. It's like, come on. He's like, oh my God. And then I saw the guy I was talking to, I don't remember his name.
Frank Smith.
Had a Knights patch on. And I looked at the patch and I'm like, what are the chances my friend Steve Mona? And his eyes like, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Next thing I'm in some weird basement of a VFW hall I've never even heard of. And I'm on the phone, speakerphone with you. I'm like, how do you know everything and everybody everywhere? It's fucking hilarious. But then
my wife says it all the time. Strangers are just friends I haven't met yet.
Apparently so. And next thing you know, we go downstairs and I'm like, well, here's the screenshot. And he was like, oh my God, I remember when this was this color. We painted this. They had no idea that this was filmed there. And it was like 40 years ago or whatever like that. They had no idea. I was like, you see, now I just taught you something about your own club that you're here every single day. You had no idea what happened there.
Somebody asked me a question recently. I thought it was a great question. And I want to ask you the question. So do you remember, and if so, what was the first movie that scared the shit out of you?
The Exorcist.
Really?
The Exorcist. Fuck yeah. The Exorcist. I remember because when I was a little kid, all what I heard from like my parents and whatnot was that her head spins around. Her head spins around, and she throws up pea soup. I'm like 5, you know what I mean? But I'm like 5 years old, and I saw it when I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I watched it, and I'm like, that movie fucking fucked me up, man. I was scarred. I'm thinking, like, I'm laying in bed, and I'm like, for some reason, if I open up my eyes, she's going to be by the ceiling levitating. The Exorcist girl is going to be up in the ceiling, like when she rises. Yeah, scarred me for life. Absolutely. My daughter, I seen it, I don't know how many times. I know every word to it. I know exactly what's going to come up. So I kind of got my daughter into watching horror movies, but really strategically. You know, there was like this FX makeup show called Face Off where there's the pretty model or the handsome guy and they turn into a demon. She sees that process, so she knows it's fake. And then it was like Gremlins where the cute little thing turns into, you know, kind of kid friendly. And then eventually we graduated to The Exorcist, but there was certain parts where, I mean, I can't have her asking me questions what she's doing with the crucifix. You know what I mean? So I would like cover her eyes during certain. Right. I would yell and make stupid noises when she's cursing up like insane, crazy things. So, but she's sitting there watching it because she asked me, what was the scariest movie you ever seen? And I said, The Exorcist. And she's watching it, and I'm watching her watch it. I'm like, is this scary? She looked at me, she smirked at me. She's like, no, Dad, she just has a potty mouth. I'm like, what? Is this not horrifying to you? But kids nowadays are different.
They're different. You know, it has a lot to, like, I collect old black and white horror films, and I have an extensive collection. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You have to watch them with the sensibility of the day opposed to today, because my favorite is Dracula with Bela Lugosi. It's not the original, but the 1931 first American version, first talking version. Lugosi is great in it, but a guy going towards the camera like this with a cape is not scary today.
Right.
Because, you know, but back then you have to think about the Depression, the 30s, you know, Prohibition. There's a whole lot going on. And so Hollywood changes. Our sensibilities change. I mean, the first movie that scared me, I don't know if it would scare me today. And it was not a big budget movie. I mean, well, probably big budget because there were some big stars in it, but it was Burnt Offerings.
Okay,
so sure. Betty Davis's last movie, she dies shortly after. She died in the movie. Oliver Reed, Karen Black, and some creepy hearse driver who just died recently. I forget his name, but he's been in a few movies. Okay. I went saw it in the movies. That movie scared the crap out of me. I mean, I couldn't sleep for days. Yeah. And this is when we used to go to the movies fairly often. You know, now for me, there are certain things you want to see. Like I just saw Top Gun. You had to see that in the movies. Right. Yeah, there's certain things you have to see. And I love going to the movies, and I love the process of making a movie, and I love the whole, you know, the script and how it gets changed. The frustration I have is like when I've gone to meetings with Danny and Jimmy back in the day when people were so excited about, oh, this Delta Bravo thing. I love what you guys are doing. Let's take a meeting. And, you know, you fly out to LA and you get together and you sit in a coffee shop and the guy says, and I think Danny may have mentioned this, I love everything you guys are doing. All I have to do is change everything about it and I could sell it to a network. Right. Well, like, what? Like, you said you love it. Yeah, but I can't sell what I love. But we can't do what we don't love. Exactly. So we're not going to make any money, but thank you for the coffee. You know, we did get a bunch of free coffee out of it. And that's good. Yeah. And maybe a croissant. Yeah, a croissant. Uh-huh. Yeah, you know. Yeah. See, a lot, like I'll show people like at work and there's contractors that are in and out of work all the time. And, you know, I'll have a Delta Bravo hat on or whatever. And they just know me at this point. And they're just like, oh, have you gone to any cemeteries? Who died over here today? Because I do a lot of true crime stuff. Yeah. So all these guys, so I show them. And so many people say it. They're like, this should be like a coffee table book. I'm like, it's a great idea, but I can't do that. It's not mine. I'm not the Delta, you know, this is Danny Boy's thing. Is it a great idea? I think it's a great idea, but I can't make that call. You know what I mean? So many people have all these suggestions and stuff, which some of them are good ideas, but it's not just that. It's like it's the suggestions and the ideas come along with certain things, certain projects I've been involved in. Somebody has a great idea, but they don't want to. It's your money. You lay out the money and see if it sells.
Exactly.
And it was one of these weird things. I posted, I changed the main photo on my Facebook page every once in a while. So today I changed it to this photo I love of some motorcycles outside my motorcycle clubhouse. And you look in the door and our colors are on the wall. And one of the guys in the club said, that would make a really great pencil drawing. And I said, yeah, we're not going there, guy, because we took a picture in the clubhouse of a bunch of us behind the bar. And it's an iconic photo. Our parent chapter president is pointing to one guy and the other guys are laughing. And somebody said to us, this would make a great pencil drawing. And we made up 100 of them because guys were like, you make up a pencil drawing, I want to buy that. And we made up 100 of them and I can probably sell you 90 of them. No, it was a good idea until we did it. And then they were like, oh, pencil drawing of you guys? Who wants a pencil drawing of you?
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
It happens like that a lot. Oh, great idea. Oh, I want that. I'll buy that. I'll buy it. And then when you go, okay, here, everything is up. No crickets.
Yeah. I mean, I probably have not even a fifth of the Delta Bravo stuff that's out there and available because I'm like, my wife rarely puts her foot down, but I've got like 500 black t-shirts with writing on them.
Of course.
And I like the black t-shirts because I'm a big guy and they're slimming.
Okay. Is that the reason?
But I was like, so I kind of sleep on a lot of this stuff on purpose.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at a few photos today, the guys wearing the mission statements t-shirts. And I'm like, damn, I slept on the wrong one. So, Dan, in the beginning, when Danny was really pumping the stuff out, I get a package in the mail.
Of course.
I mean, and for us, it's like, there's a trade-off. He was coming to New York a lot at the time. So I literally, in my guest bedroom, there's a drawer with his clothes in it.
Of course. I have a drawer that's back here. It's only Outsiders related t-shirts.
Yeah.
I have not worn them. I mean, everything from the blue Jeopardy question one to the knockoff one from the friggin' South Park episode to all this. The cast and crew.
The man is a marketing genius.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I'm gonna mess up the story somehow. Because I may not know why. It's his story to tell, but it's a great story to tell anyway. I guess they had made up like a Lakota shirt with Kate Moss on it.
Yes, I get that. What a great shirt.
And somebody said to her in an interview, how did you get involved with, Lakota Nostra? And she was like, what's Lakota Nostra? And they said, Danny Boy O'Connor. And she said, who the fuck is Danny Boy O'Connor? And by the end of the day, the Benchmark website was selling t-shirts that said, who the fuck is Danny Boy O'Connor?
That's fucking awesome.
He just he was like, okay, there's a marketing plan here. I can do that,
Yes, I never had one of those, but that's a great shirt. And I think, wasn't there one also they made with Paris Hilton on it too, I think?
I have the Madonna one.
Oh, do you?
There's a Madonna one. It's in white. Like I said, I don't wear it much because white makes me look like I'm wearing a muumuu. But yeah. But I've got more t-shirts than I know what to do with. So I'm gonna beg forgiveness. I slept on the mission statement one.
That's cool. Well, all you gotta do is gain some weight. I have one left. It's a 3X.
Yeah, that ain't gonna fit me. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll buy that 3X from you because I know exactly who would want that.
You don't have to buy it from me. I'll see.
I'll take the 3X. We'll trade off. I'll take you to lunch.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Whatever. I owe you lunch. Don't I owe you lunch? I owe you lunch this time. You picked up the Firefly on the sneak.
It wasn't on the sneak. I don't,
It was on the sneak. We were like, okay, I was asking for the bill. It was taken care of. It was on the sneak.
I've got an account there. I just put it on account.
Oh, you got a tab?
On account, I ain't going to let you pay for your meal.
Right. Oh, my God. Yeah. So, I curse Danny all the time. I curse him all the time in my head with a smile on my face because every single, once a week, there's something new.
Right.
Whether it's a pin, a hat. I just got we saw the same sunset hat. I just got it's being shipped. I got the Crime City hoodie. It's like every week I'm buying. I'm like this guy.
Did you see the Detroit stickers?
I believe so.
So
Yeah.
so I think I may have one in my drawer here.
I probably have it. I have one of the biggest collections out of everybody.
That one?
Yes, I have that.
Yeah. So one of the guys from my motorcycle club who's on the Delta Bravo site, Oddball.
I think I made that. I
Did
didn't
you?
make the actual sticker, but the design, yes.
It's a tiger in
Yes.
the center. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you did.
I did.
Yeah, why not?
I'm all in. So, all right, NK Oddball. I see him a lot on the Instagram.
Good man. Good man. So another cigar aficionado.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he used to be one of my bourbon partners, but he stopped drinking. So
Well, sometimes it's not.
listen, I don't quarrel. You know, it's funny. I've gone to a few meetings with Danny.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, you know, having had my issues back in the day. I'm glad I can enjoy a drink.
Yeah.
But I don't begrudge those that can. I know that there's, you know, there's a greater thing than, you know, life is a lot more important. And like I said earlier, Danny's been so open with the depths of his addictions and where he's come. It's an amazing story of you know, I mean, could easily have gone another way.
Oh, 100%. And I appreciate that. Like I see his posts and it's, you know, that he's speaking at this meeting and that meeting, and he's always promoting these meetings at the Circle Cinema or whatever it is all around Tulsa and everything. And I look at that and I'm like, that's awesome, because some people that's never been in the throes of like addiction or anything like that. I come from experience, dude. Like yeah. I have a ridiculously insane history when it comes to that stuff too. I'm not comparing anyone's story at all, but I had nothing. I lost everything, and God only knows I shouldn't even be alive for several reasons. But so I see that and I'm like, you know, and like I was saying, like some people who just never had to deal with that kind of stuff, they just don't get it. You know what I mean? You have to be kind of in it in order to really understand. Yeah. And when I see Danny doing that, it's like, you know what? People can change. And when you have a purpose, you have a purpose that drives you, like he found the Outsiders House and he found Tulsa and all the love that he gets from there. It's like, I have nothing but I tip my hat to Danny on just as a human being, and sharing that and being open and honest, man, because I get it. Like it also keeps me grounded too, man. Like there's certain things that like, I mean, I feel like I'm like my days are over of ripping and running and doing stupid shit. And, you know, as I grew up, I have a good job and my daughter, everything is good now. And the place that I wound up right before I got sober this last time, a little over 7 years ago, it'll only get worse than that. And I don't want to see where that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a healthy fear of where I'll wind up.
Yeah, no, I get it. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, even when he first moved to Tulsa, I don't think a lot of us really understood it. I hadn't been there.
Right.
And I'm like, wait, you're moving where? Like, what? Beverly Hills to where? Yeah. And then the first time that Elaine and I went out there to visit him, and we got on a plane to go home, and she looked at me, she goes, I get it. She goes, he is like so at peace here.
Yeah.
I actually love visiting. It's a great town. The people are fantastic. They've embraced him in a way that, I mean, because he's all about giving back. And so they've turned that around and, you know, treated him like he's become like a, you know, a big wheel in Tulsa, which doesn't sound like a lot if you don't know Tulsa, but, you know, third largest number of Art Deco buildings in the United States after Chicago and New York. The Abu Dhabi, if you will, of America back in the oil boom days. There's just so much to love about the culture there. It has a rich musical history. It has a rich and sad history when it comes to treatment of African Americans and you know, the riots perpetuated by whites on African Americans literally 100 years ago this year. Yeah. And they've kind of tried to, you know, talk about that. And I mean, it's a difficult subject, of course, but everybody there just like everybody I've met there, everybody that Danny's introduced me to, it just like you're like, wow, I get it. Like,
Yeah, I
understand now.
cannot wait to get there.
Yeah.
I'm booked. I'm going. That's
When are
it.
you going?
I will be there. It's a portion of insane road trip that we're going on, and I am checking in to the Greaser Hideout on Tuesday, July 19th.
Interesting.
Yes, I got the whole, across the. I think that was a brilliant move that Danny did.
Oh, for sure.
That he got the house across the street and the Greaser Hideout. I got it. It's rented. It's done. And yeah, Tuesday the 19th, as early as possible, because we're going to be coming from, where is the spot? We're going to be coming from Oklahoma City.
You know what's interesting? Elaine actually has a business trip to San Francisco that week. And she was like, you want to come out to San Francisco? I said, nah, I'm not looking to go to San Francisco right now. Plus, you're going to be working. I'm going to be walking around the streets, walking around poop. What's going on there? And I actually looked, because it's the week of the 18th. And I actually looked and I said, oh, maybe I'll go to Tulsa that week. And then I looked at the weather. And I'm like, no, it's too effing hot.
Yeah, what is it, like 110 degrees?
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do that. So
I know it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, I'm either gonna stay home or I might go to Portland, Oregon. So we'll see.
Portland, Oregon, never been. What's going on there? Isn't it insane? Is it still insane going on over there?
Well, I've got 3 good friends that all run iconic companies out there. And I want to visit. And then I've got another friend, mutual friend of Danny and I, Donald Logue, who lives not, maybe a couple hours from there. And I was messaging him today, hey, you're going to be home in Oregon in July? Because maybe I'll take a road trip and visit him. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably wind up sit home and smoke cigars and do nothing because, I'm lonely, but who knows?
Why not? Listen, sometimes downtime is good. Like I said before, you're like the busiest retired man ever. So maybe a little bit of normal, actual downtime is good.
We'll see. I'm leaving next Sunday for France.
You know what? I'm glad that you just brought that up, because I saw that you posted that on D-Day, and that is a place, man, that I would absolutely love to go there.
Yeah, this was my 60th birthday trip from 2020 that my wife put together as a combination Christmas birthday gift, and of course didn't happen because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we're going to Normandy.
Wow.
The Loire Valley for a wine trip, and then a couple of days in Paris. Going to see my man Fadi Bediar, who's a screenwriter there, works for Luc Besson, who's one of the biggest directors in France. And so I promised Elaine I would not let happen what happened the last time Fadi and I were together.
What happened?
So I know Fadi through, like, at this point, text and emails and Facebook.
Okay.
Right? We've never met face to face.
Right.
I'm coming to France. I planned this trip for Elaine for Valentine's Day. Yeah, we're going to go to France. We're going to stay in this nice hotel and blah, blah, blah. So I told her just one thing. We got to go to dinner with this guy I know. He's a screenwriter, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, we go meet him at the restaurant, and we were in front of the restaurant waiting for him, and it's cold. It's February. It's like a New York street with the smoke coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
And this guy comes walking through the fog wearing a Carhartt hoodie. And he takes the hoodie off, and Elaine actually like grabs my wrist like, and she'll say this, he turns out to be one of the nicest, coolest, most genuine human beings you ever want to meet, but does not look like your stereotypical Frenchman. He's French born, but he's Algerian, right?
Okay.
So we have this amazing dinner with him and my wife, and then we send Elaine home to the hotel, and him and I decide to go cognac and cigar bar hopping through France.
Boy.
And I don't know that this guy's kind of a big deal in France. So we're walking through the streets and we get to this bar and it's like, oh, Mr. Bettiar, it's so nice to see you. Your table's waiting and there's a bottle of cognac and a couple of cigars on. And he's giving me this education on Paris that you couldn't pay for.
Right.
And it's almost like a Delta Bravo, like on Paris and what was filmed here and what famous, historical event happened here. And then we get to the statue of Joan of Arc and there's a bunch of people around it. And he starts talking about Joan of Arc and how nationalists have kind of co-opted her memory and turned it into something it wasn't. And the crowd starts saying, yes, he's right. He's right. And so around 6 o'clock in the morning, my wife has been like, I don't have a phone at the time. This is years ago. I don't have a phone at the time that works in France.
Mm-hmm.
And Fadi at the time is in his 30s, but he's like old school. I think he had a flip phone.
Okay.
And so Elaine's like leaving messages like, Fadi, Steve doesn't know the language and I hope he's okay. Are you guys still together? And so we get to the hotel like about 4:30, but then we stand in front and talk for like another hour and a half.
Of course.
So now I walk, and I'll keep in mind, I've sent Elaine back to the hotel about 9:30.
Oh my God.
I walk in the hotel room at 6 a.m. I'm blasted.
Of course you are.
And I'm like, oh, honey, I had such a great time. And she's sitting up in bed like this. She's like, and then I just go face down on the bed, out cold. It took her a while to forgive me. It took her a while to forgive Fadi, but he promised that this time that would not happen. So
okay.
If he's watching or sees this, keep in mind, but I do have a cell phone that works, and I don't know that she'd be as worried now. She doesn't care as much about me, I guess. But yeah, it was an amazing night.
That's awesome.
It's referred to as our lost night in Paris.
Oh, see, that's good. That has like a nice ring to it. That's a great.
It does. It could be a movie.
It could be. Have Fadi direct the damn thing. That's great, man. So the next time that we hang out, like, listen, this is what I want to do. When you have a free, like a day where you could where shenanigans can happen. There is a particular thing that we have not actually nailed down yet. Do you know what photo I'm talking about?
I'm listening.
It's the one from The Exorcist. We'll rewind back to The Exorcist, where Father Karras is dreaming and he's having the dream and he sees his mother come up out of the train station and he starts running across the street.
Yes.
And she turns around and she goes back down that train station. That is like, it's like how you and Butchie and Danny all found the Beach Street rooftop.
Yes.
That was like Danny's like white whale.
Yeah.
My white whale is the freaking subway entrance from the goddamn Exorcist.
Okay, so I'm on that, and I still have your Hulk Hogan thing. I've been all over that. I'm like, I have been up and down Manhattan real estate trying to find that. If
that's
I
from like 1980s, and that's the intro to the stupid wrestling cartoon.
I know, right?
We do dumb stuff.
that Beach Street rooftop. Was like Butchie and I, we had to use Master Shield.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I know that yard. I know it's Fresh Pond Yard, but how to get that angle. And so we're like looking at the houses, but you can't see the yard from the front of the house. And finally there was one house and we were like, the door was open. So we went in the vestibule and rang the doorbell. And the guy's like, yeah, like police. Okay, we just need to get up on the roof. And the guy's like, okay, and he buzzed us in. And
that's fucking great.
And the funny thing was, we went up on the roof, and it was actually the next roof over.
Yeah,
you could cross over, and we were like right in the right spot. And Danny was like, when Butchie sent that to him, he goes, how did you? He goes, I knew it was Fresh Pond, but it was it was fun.
That's great. So you could get in like that. I had to like there's that one because it's funny you say this because it's the same thing that I had to do, but obviously not say police. I had to like sneak in. I was like trespassing to get, and it was on Knickerbocker Avenue. It was the Carmine Galante hit.
Oh yeah, the restaurant. which is no
Yes.
longer a restaurant.
Yeah, it was John and Maria's Italian restaurant or something like that. But there is the pictures. There's a bird's eye view of him dead with the cigar. There's one from an angle, right? There's the top one. So I'm like, I don't want to get like the side one. I want to get the bird's eye one. So I'm like double parked at like a fire hydrant in Bushwick on Knickerbocker Avenue, and there's these two ladies standing outside. And I'm like, listen, how can I get to the roof? They're like, I don't know. There's like a Chinese, like a laundromat or a dry cleaning. I asked them, can I get to the yard? There's no way to get to the yard. There's no way to get to the yard. And the guy who owns that restaurant or did, it's just storage. Those roll down gates just stay closed. It's not even a business or anything. So I'm like, oh, shit. So, but I noticed that in between each business, there's a door and people live upstairs. There's 2 floors of houses, of apartments. So somebody walks out and they walk away. I put my foot in the door because you have to get buzzed in. So I go upstairs, I hear like kids playing in apartments and shit. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So I had to go upstairs and there's children's bicycles all like right by the access ladder to the roof, climb over the bicycles, up the access ladder, throw the panel over, hop over a couple of roofs and throw my phone across, take a bunch of pictures, and I got it. So, you know, I didn't use police. I had to kind of like break it and entering, but I didn't break nothing to enter.
You kind of got let, you know, sometimes it's just,
I got let in.
It's happenstance. You know, like Danny had asked me that it's not from the movie, but the actual apartment door where Frank Serpico was shot through the door.
Yes.
And it's on Driggs Avenue by actually right up the street from the Jacob's Ladder spot. Like 2 blocks. So that we did that the day of Luger's. Yes. About 2 blocks up from there is the building. I think it's 791 Driggs. I might be wrong with the number, but that was like double parked. Actually, I think, no, it was on my motorcycle. And I parked the motorcycle and I was with one of my buddies from my club and I said, wait here for me, I'll be right back. So where you going? I said, yeah, and I'm waiting I had to wait a few minutes till somebody came out. And then I went in and got that one. And sometimes it really just comes down to, one of my favorites. We go up on the roof of the $1 Million Hotel. There was a documentary done with U2 about this hotel in LA. It was like the first fancy hotel down in downtown LA, which is no longer fancy. And it's called they called it I think the documentary, and I may be wrong in the name, but I think it was called the $1 Million Hotel. And the hotel's name was the Rose something or other. The name's escaping me. Anyway, so it's me, Danny, Jimmy, and this artist, David Velez, and he's got a little ladder. And the building used to be a hotel. Now it's an SRO being converted to condos. So half the floors are single room occupancy for indigent people, and the other half are condos. Yeah. So we walk in, and I used, there's this line from the movie, Michael Keaton's in a movie where he plays the editor of the Daily News. Okay. And they have to go talk to a detective, wind up and again, probably a Delta Bravo spot we could hit is they go to speak to this detective, and they use the 9-4 precinct in Greenpoint. I don't remember if they refer to it as the 9-4 in the movie, but he goes, and his assistant says, you're not going to just walk into a police precinct and walk upstairs to the detective's office. He goes, kid, you can get anywhere with a positive attitude and a clipboard. Yeah. Yeah. And so they walk into the 9-4 and the desk officer looks over and Michael Keaton says, how you doing, Lou? And he goes, good, guys, heading upstairs? Yeah. And they walk right upstairs. So we do the same thing at this Rosemont Hotel. We get in, we walk in, there's a security desk with security guards. How you doing, guys? Good. We have a ladder. There's 4 of us. We have to get to the 12th floor, then go out on the fire escape, and then go up to the roof on a ladder off the fire escape. So it's like, so we get in the elevator, and who gets in the elevator with us? Well, one of the SRO room occupants, this little Spanish lady. And so she goes, wait, hold the ladder, hold the door. We hold the door for her. She gets in the elevator, the door's closed. She looks up at Danny. She looks at me and Jimmy. And then she looks at David, who's, somewhat shorter, but he's got the ladder. And he's obviously Spanish. And she looks at him and she goes, Policía? And he goes, sí,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. That's
But
it.
we wound up on the roof. And that was the day we did the U2 roof also.
Yes.
That was
Yeah,
across the street. And the same thing. We come into this yard. It's the building where U2 did Streets Have No Name is right next to a parking lot. And there's
Right.
one of those wooden booths with the person in the parking lot with the machine that, clips your card.
Yeah.
And we walk in and the guy, and we're carrying a ladder. We just park our car, and we just take the ladder out and we go over to the building and the guy's looking at us like, hey, how you doing? And
Yeah.
he goes, good. And Jimmy looks at him and goes, LAPD, which is checking the roof. And the guy goes, okay.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Positive attitude.
Positive attitude. That's fucking great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, there's one spot that I want to get. It's I tried to ring for the superintendent, but he wasn't answering. It's on State Street. It's right by the Barclays Center. It's a picture of Jay-Z up on the roof looking at the Barclays Center. And the only reason why I want that shot, it's because that's the house that he grew up in. And he's actually looking at the Barclays Center. And it was the first time that he sold it out. So he's like, he's standing on where he came from nothing. And he's looking at the Barclays Center, which is right next door to his house, that it's sold out. It's just a cool shot. And I tried to ring for the super one day, but he didn't answer because you had to get buzzed in.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
If you notice, he of course lived in the Marcy houses, and there's that iconic housing project signs. They have orange with blue writing or blue with orange writing.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Mets colors.
Yes.
You know that they are different at the Marcy houses.
Yeah, they are.
You know why?
I do not know.
Because people kept stealing them.
Really?
Yeah, like the blue and orange.
Yeah.
Jay-Z was here, so they steal them.
Of course.
So now they no longer look like the old school.
Yeah, you know what? I think that was because they're all different now. Because I went to Queensbridge, which was a little sketchy for me to be walking around the projects in Queensbridge on a weekend during the day, taking pictures of buildings. People have no idea what I'm taking pictures of, but I think those signs were pretty much the same color too back in the day of old pictures of knobs and stuff like that.
They're all blue. They're all the blue and orange. We had great experience over at the Queensbridge. So we're doing the Illmatic photos.
Yes, yeah, I did a bunch. Absolutely.
Me, Danny. I don't know if Jimmy was in with Dom DeMeo with us, Jimmy Cash, and we're going to go up on the roof of this housing project. So we get there and we're taking out camera equipment and everything else and getting all ready to go. But it's the 114 with Butchie works. So Butchie's like, okay, yeah, listen, I'll meet you there and I'll bring a couple of cops and this way. And so we get out and we start getting all set up and then Jimmy starts to walk. I'm like, dude, where are you going? And he goes, aren't we going in this building? We're like, yeah, we got to wait for the police. He goes, why? Have you looked around the neighborhood?
Yeah, have you look? Come on, man. Yeah.
There's this great photo. It's got to be back on the Delta Bravo page, way back, of Jimmy Cash on the edge of the parapet. Somebody took a photo of him, and you see the city lights behind them. You couldn't have staged a better photo.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
It doesn't ring a bell, so I might not have even seen it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite pictures from then. And it wasn't like a mashup or anything. It was just,
just a shot.
Taken. Yeah. Sure. And then we went across the street by the park where there's an old building where some other pictures were taken. And pretty cool.
Yeah. We have to go hit a spot, man. I think we have, if you want, I got to send you the picture again. I think we came up with, but it was never set in stone. It was kind of up in the air. You're like, it's possibly across the street from the entrance to the Brooklyn Bridge. Or something like that.
Train station?
Yeah.
So send it to me again.
I will. Because it's hard because there's nothing really to go by. There's a small portion of a brick wall. There's a couple of old cars, maybe an old bus turning the corner behind there. And
So I didn't want to sleep tonight anyway. So just send it to me.
I'll send that to you. No problem. and dig more into the Hulk Hogan intro to the stupid cartoon. I don't know where that came from, but I don't know. It came.
What the worst part of that one was? I actually listened to the music.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's 1986
it's
WWF
and Hulk.
It
was so bad.
People come running from off.
Yeah, running. I just want to touch Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it's so bad. Oh man, but you know what? I was 10 years old and I liked that shit, you know?
I was looking on the YouTube. I watched the video because you sent me the still, but I watched the video.
I sent you the thing because it's a little bit more like
one of the comments on the video, some guy was like, I was never sure if this was Hulk Hogan or Hulk or the Hulk. Now thank you for clearing that up for me. I'm like,
people,
whatever it is.
Bro, that's pure, I think. But read YouTube comments, you'll get a laugh. People are out of their mind.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I'm a firm believer after reading a lot of commentary on certain things online.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in Mike Tyson's statement that the problem with society today is too many people can say whatever they want without worrying about getting punched in the mouth.
100%.
Yeah.
I could not agree more, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's out of control.
It is.
So now we need to hit a spot. We need to go back to Luga's and whatever else. But I know that Danny is coming in for this. I don't think I'm going to be able to make this thing at the park that's coming up in August, though. I think
my brother-in-law and his family are going to be in from the UK, and my brother-in-law is a pretty cool guy, so I may drag him along and go. I didn't do the last one. I think I was away. So
I did the last one, but I'm not going to be able to make this one because we have plans to go to DC for the weekend.
Very good.
There's a few, huh?
Where are you staying?
I'm not sure. There was a hotel. When I went to Tennessee with my daughter, like last year or whatever it was. That time is weird since COVID, but we had like a delayed flight, and then we wound up going to DC, and we stayed at a hotel in DC. It starts with a C. I have to remember what it is. I have to do a little bit of research, but it was an awesome hotel, but it was only like overnight until we had to catch another flight out. But that's where I want to stay because my daughter actually requested if we could stay at that hotel again.
Well, if you need a hotel there, I got to hook up. So
okay, awesome.
I mean, if that one doesn't work out, I got to hook up.
Yeah, I got to remember what it was called. I know it started with a C. I don't remember exactly, but there's a few spots in DC that I want to hit. I've been there before, like I did like The Exorcist and stuff like that. There's a church that I want to go inside for The Exorcist, and I just want to take in. Like it's another thing that I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to see the Vietnam Memorial.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I've always wanted to see it.
If I could give you some advice, go at night.
I'm sure.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Listen, it's moving no matter when you go.
Yeah.
But going at night, I've only been there once at night, and at night it's pretty incredible. And then you go to the Korean Memorial at night too, and it's haunting because they have these soldiers, statues of soldiers in ponchos, and there's just I'm getting chills saying it. It's crazy stuff. Yeah.
You know what's going to be crazy? It's part of the itinerary for the road trip. As a matter of fact, it's the night before we head out to go to Danny, to Tulsa. I'm going to the Oklahoma City bombing memorial.
Ooh, yeah.
And if you just look online of that place at night,
it's
dude, it's crazy. Like I'm mixing in like a lot of like silly stuff. Like I'm staying at the gas station from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They have cabins and stuff there, and like stupid stuff like that. Like there's a shot from like Machete with Danny Trejo that's in Austin that I want to hit. Like silly stuff like that. And then like we're going to Dealey Plaza. We're going to Waco. We're going to Oklahoma City. Like there's a lot of heavy, deep stuff, and then there's a lot of nonsense.
Waco, I could give you restaurant recommendations. That's a great little town too.
Really? I just want to go to where the Branch Davidian compound was.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
The concrete slab is still there, and they built a little small church that's on top of the concrete slab. Very strange. The pool from the original compound is still there.
You know what's crazy about Waco? There's a railroad track that goes right through the middle of Waco.
Okay.
It's a freight track.
Uh-huh.
There are no gates. Like the train it's like traffic.
Really?
Yeah. I stayed in Waco. It's a couple of years ago, and my hotel was like, I have pictures of my hotel window, and the train goes slow. It's not like, all of a sudden the train's barreling through.
Yeah.
But several times a day, this train just right through the middle of Waco. Like, it's like, oh yeah, there's a it's like, it reminded me back in, when I was a kid, they still had the trolley car tracks on McDonald Avenue under the F train.
Okay.
And every once in a while, the transit authority would move subway cars from the yard to 36th Street by bringing them on the old trolley car tracks pulled by a diesel train. And so you'd be driving down McDonald Avenue, you'd have to pull over because the F train was going by, not above you.
Right.
It was crazy. But yeah, I've got like these cool pictures of Waco where I was like, this train just like, everybody stops, like no big deal.
Yeah, there's gonna be.
We'd have to have gates. We'd have to have,
Oh, everything. There's gotta be horns, bells, whistles, all kinds of everything.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. Because there's not one spot that we're going to that I've ever been to, and there's a lot. I'm staying at Graceland and like a whole bunch of really cool stuff, man. So
I've never been to Graceland. My wife has. She's taking her mom there.
Yeah, there's like I think it's like 185 pictures that I want to hit that's in my phone from the road trip alone. Like 185.
And you say I'm busy.
This is like an 8-day thing. It's like 1,700 miles driving. I'm flying one way to Austin and driving my ass back to Brooklyn.
Oh shit.
Yeah, fuck it. You're goddamn right. I'm renting a fucking. It's an SUV at the airport in Austin. I'm checking into a little silly little Motel 6 just for that night because we get in late at night on Texas time, and I'm just renting the thing. We're just crashing for a little while at a little Motel 6, and then we're on the move.
There you go.
On the move, all over. I have it all mapped out. It's I get a little OCD with it. I have everything, mileage, routes, everything. Hotels are booked. The only thing that's not booked yet is there's a stretch from Tennessee to Arlington National Cemetery, which is 10 and a half hours. So that's one stretch where I don't have anything booked yet because I don't know how long we're going to drive, how we're going to feel. So that's the only thing that's not booked and taken care of.
Before you leave, you'll find something to do along that stretch.
100%.
Yeah, there'll be some obscure movie that no one's ever heard of but you, me, and Danny.
Right.
And Jimmy.
and I'll hit it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Very good.
Good shit, man. Listen, as always, my man, is there anything you want to tell the kids?
The kids. Oh, listen, I think I said
Tell the youth.
The youths. I said it earlier, like, don't be like, I love seeing stuff get posted that's been posted before. Yeah. Everybody, this is all about, and Danny has said it, Jimmy has said it, I've said it. This is not about any one person. No. It's about in some cases, as Danny said it, a vanishing part of Americana.
Yeah.
That we want to hold on to. And if you go to a place that you've seen on the site 50 times, be number 51.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see your take. I want to hear how you experienced it. Yeah. I want to know what it meant to you. I love the little stories as much as I love the photos.
Same here.
Yeah. I mean, so I appreciate everyone who's supported this. It's gotten, like, I just wish like somebody in Hollywood would wake up and say, these guys should be doing this on some TV show, but it is what it is.
That would be amazing, man.
Yeah. You're the narrator now. So.
Oh God, I'm the voice of this thing. That's bad.
I'm happy to be the behind the scenes guy that gets the pictures and says, "Oh yeah, that's over here." Yeah. But yeah, no, like I said, I just appreciate all the support we've gotten. Yeah, it's been really a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love doing this shit, and like I'll find myself like I'll have something in my phone of like a movie, whatever. Am I the biggest fan of the movie? No, not necessarily. No. But I found something like, you know what? Let me do this and I'll post it up because, like you said earlier, somebody might think it might be their favorite movie ever. Me, I really don't care for it, but I'm right here, so I'm just going to do the shot real quick.
No, for sure.
And here's the address.
I've never cared if something was, something that I liked or didn't like.
Right.
Okay, this was done here, or this happened here, or this person was born here, or whatever. Listen, I'm gonna take a picture and and I'm gonna send it to Jimmy so he could do the mashup.
I'll mash up whatever you want. I've mashed things for a bunch of people in the past.
You know how to do the logo. I don't know how to do all that stuff.
Send me whatever.
Yeah.
And don't worry, when we finally narrow it down to this damn train station from The Exorcist, you get full credit, the whole thing.
I love the credit. I have to admit it. I love when you post something and put me down as the
You
person
led me
that
to the
found it.
spot because sometimes I'll be going crazy. Like I'll look and look and look. And then when I'm like, I really don't know, that's when I hit you up. I've been going crazy looking for this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Ask you. And you're like, oh yeah, that's on the corner of fucking Houston and blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, there it is. Awesome.
So, we got to get together soon.
We will.
Been way too long.
Yeah. Listen, we have each other's phone numbers. Let's make something happen.
Very good.
Awesome. Steve, as always, be safe, my man. And if I do not, when are you going to France?
I leave the 19th on my birthday.
Of this month.
This month. Father's Day.
I'll speak to you before then, but in case, regardless, safe travels. And I'm looking forward, forget the mashing and all that, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing pictures of that.
Yeah, I'll be taking some photos.
Yeah, you need to.
I will.
Awesome. Steve, much respect,
Love you, man. Take care.
Love you, brother.